King of Fighters 94 was released in, well, you guessed it, 1994, August 25th of that year to be exact, and was the first installment to a long-running fighting game franchise which seems to be going strong even to this day. This video is made to give an introduction to the game, how it plays, its characters, and if it holds up after all these years. You can call me Dr. Shoryuken, and this is my review/overview of the King of Fighters 94. Let's start off with the overview. First off, how does the game play? Well, the quick and easy answer to that is that it plays a lot like Street Fighter. You have your weak and strong attacks, you press up to jump, and you can do special attacks by doing motion inputs like down forward plus punch or down backwards plus kick. But that's not doing it justice. One thing you will notice right off the bat is that you don't just choose a character and start brawling. You actually pick from teams of 3. This system and other mechanics were improved later on, but we're going to keep this video about 94. But teams of 3 and 8 teams in total, which we'll talk more about them later. So upon choosing your team, you can select the order in which you will fight as. So let's say you go Team China and you put Ethna as your front runner, and Kinsao in second and Chen in third. You will start your round as Ethna. When Ethna is defeated, Kinsao will take your place and vice versa. The winning character will also get a small health boost to help them fight your next character, almost a reverse comeback mechanic, which I have no problem with since a lot of fighting games put unnecessarily overpowered combat mechanics in their games these days. Another unique mechanic is the dodge. This is a very interesting mechanic. The main obvious use for it was to prevent fireball characters from being able to spam you to death, and promoted a bit more of a mid-range, footsie, and aggressive type gameplay a bit. Or you can just keep spamming like me. I did some research on the dodges, and from what I've heard, the dodges have no recovery frame, so if your timing's good enough, you can just keep doing it. Dodges, however, can lose to throws, so it's not like it's a viable, strategy to prank your friends with, at least not really. Next mechanic is called Max. When your character meter is at max, you can get some nice buffs like extra damage and better pushback, but from what I've read, you will also take a bit of damage and pushback yourself. I did some research on this to confirm it. KOF 94 also has super jumps. You can perform a super jump by pressing down before your jump, then letting the stick/D-pad go back to neutral. I personally find super jumps to be a little hard to execute in this one. They seem a bit more strict in my opinion. So that's a bit on how the game plays. Now let's talk about the teams and characters I alluded to earlier. There are 8 teams to choose from, all 8 representing their respective countries. Italy will have you play as Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, and Joe Higashi. Team China with Ethna, Kinsao, and Chen was Kyo, Benimaru, and Goro Diamond. USA has Heavy D, Lucky Gobbler, and Brian Battler. Team Korea has Kim Kaphwan, Chang Kohan, and Choi Bonche? Team Brazil has Ralph Jones, Hydern, and Clark Still. Team England has Yuri Sakazaki, Mai Shiranai, and King. And lastly, Team Mexico was Robert Garcia, Ryo Sakazaki, and Takuma Sakazaki. Tiny side note, but Takuma, Ryo, and Yuri Sakazaki are related. Anyways, pick your team and go through a classic style arcade mode where you fight your way to the top until you get to the final boss and beat the game, which leads right into the story. The story of KOF 94 isn't anything too special, not that it needs to be. Long story short, our main villain is Rugal, black market weapons dealer, bored over no competition. He sent 24 invitations to strong fighters from around the world to a fighting tournament. At the conclusion of the tournament, he canonically fights Team Japan on his ship, the Black Noah. Kyo sees his defeated father and avenges him by defeating Rugal. After being defeated, he tries to blow the whole place up, but our heroes make it out alive, of course. I know that was a very brief recap of the game's story, but I might want to make a video in the future about the story of King of Fighters, so at least at this time, we'll leave it at that. So that was the overview. Moving on to the review. And to start it off right off the bat, how does the game feel? If there's one thing a fighting game absolutely needs to get right, is how smooth and responsive the gameplay is, and to be honest, it's a little bit sluggish. I can definitely throw a couple bones at SNK though, since this is the first KOF game, and it doesn't feel horrible, just a little bit sluggish. Now, overall gameplay wise is super fun. I love the characters and how they play, the team system is genius, and the team system is probably my most loved thing about the King of Fighters franchise. I really like playing as Ethna and Kinsao, so I almost always go with Team China. Chen is pretty fun too. Now the arcade mode. The CPUs are cheap as heck. They don't let you hit fireballs, they are surprisingly good at anti-airs, and progress to get way harder, very fast. But that's with most Ode fighting games. It's fun fighting other teams from around the world with these gorgeous stage backgrounds. Like, they really went out of their way to make these stages look this nice. It's a shame this genuinely fun arcade mode ends with this piece of trash Rugal. This boss took me forever to beat, and is probably the cheapest fighting game boss I have ever played personally. And yes, I've played some, quite a bit of like fighting game arcade modes. Like, I've played most of the Street Fighter ones. I've even completed Super Turbo's arcade mode, which that one is horrible. And even like the Bison or whatever the final boss of that is not as bad as Rugal in 94, I can assure you that. I actually made a video about this boss, link in description if you're interested. Alternatively, instead of playing arcade mode, you can just play with your friends, which is the best way to enjoy fighting games, obviously. Overall, I think KOF 94 was a really good start to a franchise that would later become amazing. As a standalone game, it's great, but as the series goes on, it only gets better and better, which over time sadly makes this game feel a bit irrelevant. So why not make it more relevant and give it a try? It's no KOF 98 or 2000, but it's still fun. I might make this a series, giving a brief overview/review for all the classic KOF games. If I got any info wrong, make sure to leave a comment and I'll make sure to pin it. And as always, if you have any questions or need any help, leave a comment also, and I'll do my best to help. Have a great day, and see you next video.